Welcome back to another Storyboarder tutorial. In this video we're going to create a basic storyboard with maybe 5 boards in it, and then we're going to be exporting that and show you some of the different export options for your board. So I'm just going to grab maybe, it doesn't really matter here, let's just draw a nice little scene here. We'll do a little hill, and we'll say we're going to have a little house on the hill here. I'm just going to left click. Oh, and also some drawing aids that I didn't talk about last time. There's these little grids. If we want, we can toggle square grid. We can toggle just to see our center line on the vertical and horizontal axis. It could help us with our drawing. There's another grid here that just divides it into these different cubes, that kind of like thirds, rules of thirds. And so this is kind of nice for helping us. Then we can kind of resize and be like, okay, let's make sure the house is up here, kind of on this third over there. Anyway, so we draw a little scene here, and then we can come over to our right-hand side, and we see this is shot 1A, this is board 1 of 1. Shot generator, just ignore this, we're going to do this later. I'm using my scroll wheel to scroll down. There's no scroll bar on the side, so to get down to these more options, you have to scroll down with your mouse on the scroll wheel. And we see we have an option here for duration. So how long is this scene going to be? So we kind of have to think through this process. There's a lot more information than just the drawing. So maybe I want to record this scene. Maybe there's a hill like this that kind of looks like this near where I live, and I want this scene to actually be here, and this is going to take place for maybe 10 seconds. So this is in milliseconds. If we hover over it, tells us there's 1,000 milliseconds in 1 second. So I'd want to do 10,000 milliseconds, and that'll be 10 seconds in real time. So this will be 10 seconds, and then I can grab a different color over here. Maybe I'll grab this pastel, or no, we'll do this red here. And so we'll say, we'll increase the size a little bit, and so we'll say we want the camera to sort of be moving this way. So we can draw some arrows here. Oh, that's too thick. I'll hit Control Z to undo that. Let's put this down. So these arrows are just going to be guides, and there's really no right and wrong way to do this as long as you know what you're doing. So these arrows are just telling me, all right, the camera is going to be moving that way, and there's going to be a person here, and we'll have a person maybe like walking up the hill. And we'll grab a different color to show action. Maybe we'll do like a light blue here, and we'll say this person's going to be moving this way. So this is kind of our rough storyboard for this scene. And then, is there anything happening? Is there any dialogue happening? Well, maybe there's no dialogue because there's only one person, but the action we can say, guy walks up the hill. So this is our first scene. We can put some notes too. We can say, this is the hill in my backyard, or something, just so we know what part of that scene, like where this is going to be recorded. We could put audio files in, and we're going to play with this a little bit more when we start doing animation. And then this is our frame rate of how much we want to record in. Are we going to do 24 frames per second? Are we going to do 30 frames per second? And so we can just leave this at 24 unless you know what you want to do and you want to change that. All right, so this is our first scene. Let's add our second scene in. So we're going to click this plus sign here, and so this is our second scene, or our second board. And if we want, we can reference. If we want our scene to be kind of similar, we could turn on onion skin, which is this button right here. We click on it, and it shows us what was happening in the last board, or in the last scene. So we could reference this, and then we can draw over top of it if we want it to be different. But in this case, I'm going to draw a completely different scene. Maybe we'll have a scene of the house being close up now. So this is the hill here, and this is the house, and the roof of the house. And so now this scene here has the guy kind of walking in and going to go open the door. So he's walking here, reaching for the door, and so we can grab this action, and we can put a little arrow to show that. And maybe we want the camera to be zooming in on all. We want it to kind of pan in like this. So we'll make some notes for the camera operator. Zoom in like this, camera operator. And then we go down and we say, the dialogue, he's going to say like, where are my keys? And then reaches for doorknob or something. So this is like the second part of our scene. Then we go to the third part of our scene, and we can draw. Did that really appear there? Yeah, we can erase that. We can draw, maybe he's inside the house, and there's like a chair over here, and the guy's we draw the inside of the house. and we have the guy walking towards the chair, and there's someone else in the room and saying like, how was your day? And so it's like, how was your day? And maybe the camera's not doing anything here, but you get the point. So we create some different scenes here, and then I don't know what happens. Maybe the end, this is like the ending scene, let's just say. There's like the sun is going down. Oh, this is terrible. But we have our last scene here. We have stuff happening, and maybe this will be the very last one. The end. Okay, so now that we have sort of a little storyboard, we have some cues for what the camera is going to be doing. We have some dialogue over on the side. Well, let's say we want to share this with someone now. We want to share this with our cameraman or with different people. Well, what we can do is go to File, and if we go to Save, it's just going to save our project. We looked at that in the last video where those files are stored on our computer. We can also go to Export Animated GIF if we want to. We'll do that more when we do animation in the next one. We can export all of these scenes as an image. We go Export Scene as Images, and that'll just export all 5 of our boards or of what we've drawn in our scenes, and it exports them to our project folder. So if we minimize and go into our project folder, we see now there's a new folder called Exports that's been created. And in Exports, it shows what we've exported. So it shows all these different scenes. We can open them up and look at them. They're just PNG images. And so we could email these to someone or put them up on a website, or we could print them. Different options there. If we want to make further edits to these, there's a built-in tool in Storyboarder for doing that. And it's this button right here. It's the Photoshop icon by default if you want to edit it in Photoshop, but I have mine configured to work in GIMP right now. So if we click on this, it'll actually open up it'll open up GIMP and send all the information for this drawing to GIMP. And it's really kind of nice because it's not just a flat image like the PNG. It's got different layers, and we can toggle on and off, like the red ink we can do here, or the background is separate from the drawing. And so it's really kind of nice. And then we can use the built-in tools in GIMP to make changes to this as well. But I'm going to close this and discard changes. And actually now that's linked. So once we do that, we really need to either choose one or the other. We get this icon here for our mouse that says we can't edit, we can't do anything to this because it's now being edited in Photoshop or GIMP or an external program. We can change that by just hitting the backspace key, and that will say this current board is linked to Photoshop or GIMP, and so we can unlink it to double click. So we double click the artboard is what it tells us. Double click in here, and that will unlink it, and so we'll say draw in Storyboarder, and now they're not linked anymore, and we can make changes again in Storyboarder. So it's kind of like one or the other. Just be aware of that when you do link, and that's just whatever board is linked. Other options we have for exporting this and working on it is we can export it to a video. If we do that, it's going to keep the frame rate. So this one right now would be about a 10-minute video, about a 1-minute video, 10 seconds each frame, so 50 seconds total. So that's been exported now, and we can do that same thing where we go into our exports folder, and now we see there's a little video here. So we can play this video, and it's going to play this frame for 10 seconds, and then it'll play this next frame for 10 seconds, and it just does the whole video how we've told it to go. Or did these ones get? Actually, these ones didn't. These ones went by the default. I just realized that. So this one we told it to be 10 seconds long, but these ones are actually faster. The default, which is like 1 second or 2 seconds, is the default. So it plays them for 2 seconds and then stops, or then advances to the next one. If we want to print this and share it with someone on paper, the best way to do that is to go to this Print or Export to PDF. This will bring up a print dialog, which lets us either print or export to PDF like it says. So if you do export to PDF, it just exports it and then opens up the location. We can open this up and see what it'll look like when it's printed. So the printed page will just show this. It shows the dialogues, what they're saying, and it also shows the actions that are happening in there as well. And it shows little scenes and what the scene is and how long the scene is and all that. So good information there for printing, or we could email this PDF to someone as well. So there's lots of different options for sharing this. Play with some of these different ones. In the next video, we're going to actually make an animation. Storyboard is not really designed for animation, but you can create some good basic animation, and it's going to help us learn some of the different tools we have for creating in Storyboarder. So thanks for watching. Go ahead and leave your questions and comments below, and we'll catch you in the next video.